Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing a simple single crochet tutorial for lefties. I'm going to start out by using some medium weight yarn in a 5mm hook. As always, I recommend to use whatever hook size recommended for your yarn. For example, this yarn recommends a 5mm or a 6mm hook. I'm just using scrap yarn for today to make it easy. So we're going to be starting off with a slip knot. You're going to lay your yarn flat. You're going to have one yarn that's connected to the skein, and you're going to have one yarn that's extra that ends. Now, once you have this, you're going to take your finger and you're going to pinch in between the two. It doesn't really matter where, you just want to make sure you have enough ends so that your knot doesn't unravel. So you're going to pinch right here, and then after you do that, you're going to gather your two ends together. And once you do this, you're going to twist. And now that I've twisted, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the end that's not connected to the ball of yarn, and I'm going to pull. And that's going to create my slip knot. I'm going to do it again for y'all. I'm going to do it in the air this time. I've got one end and then one end connected to the ball of yarn. So I'm going to grab here, pinch, pinch. Now I'm going to twist. And now that I've twisted, I'm going to grab onto this end that's not connected to the ball of yarn, like so. And I'm going to pull it through my knot and pull. And that's how we create our slip knot. Now I'm going to add my slip knot to my hook, and the beauty of the slip knot is that you can pull it tight if it's too loose. Now I've done that, and now it's time to start chaining. I really would recommend, if you're new to crocheting, to watching a bunch of videos on how people hold their yarn, because I think, in my opinion, holding your yarn is the most difficult part of crocheting because it's how you maintain your tension or how tight your stitches are going to be. So for me, for example, I hold it two different ways. I hold it like this, and I hold it like this. If I want my stitches to be a little tighter, what I'll do is I'll wrap it around my pinky, go underneath my two fingers here, and then have it above my pointer finger. And if I don't need my stitches to be super loose, I'll just have it go above my pinky, below my middle and ring, and then above my pointer finger. So now we're going to start chaining. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap my yarn around my hook, like so. I'm going to grab it, and then I'm just going to pull it through that chain. So as we go, I'm going to refer to these as chains. Everything on this hook right now is a chain. So I'm going to loop over and pull through, loop over, pull through. And that's how you chain. Now I'm going to do a couple chains and I'm going to come back. So I have 10 chains here. The key for single crocheting is the amount of stitches you want. You want to chain one more, because right now I've got 10 chains. If I were to do single crochets, I would lose this one, because you need this space, this last chain, to turn in order to work back down your work. So I want 10 single crochets. So I'm going to add one more chain, my 11th one. I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to pull through. Now I have 11 chains, and now I can start my single crochet. So there are two different ways that you can single crochet. As you can see, this is the front of your stitches, right? You've got these little V's, and then here is the back. You've got these little loops at the top. So what I like to do is go through the loops, but some people like to go through the V's. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to show you how each way looks. So looking at your chains, this is going to be chain number 1. This is going to be chain number 2. So I'm going to start by inserting my hook through that second chain. And for this example, I'm going to go to the front like this. Then once you get through, I'm going to wrap my yarn around the hook. I'm going to pull that through. Now I've got 1, 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over again to give me 3. And I'm going to pull this one through the 2. And that's your first single crochet. Now we're going to do the next one. So going into that next chain, this is the one we just went through. You can see, I already go through this one. I'm going to insert my hook. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to pull that through. Now I've got 2 loops. The yarn over again. I'm going to pull through 2. I'm going to do it once more. I'm going to insert into the next chain. Yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through 2. This is what our stitches look like so far. I'm going to keep going, and now I'm going to go through the back loop so you can see what that looks like. So in this next stitch, right, this is the front. I'm going to rotate it so you see this loop here. Right there. See all those? 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to stick my hook under this loop like that. You can see it on top of the arrow. And now I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to pull through my loop. Now I've got two, I'm going to pull through both. Now I'm going to do that again. I'm going to go into the next back bump right there. Do the same thing. Do it again. Do this back bump. All right, now we've done a few so far, so I'm going to show you the difference between the back bump and the front. So these right here where you can see the clear arrows, that's where we went through the back bump. And then here where it's not quite as clear, that's the front loop. So that's the reason why I like going through the back bump. You can really tell it just looks a little cleaner in my opinion, but it doesn't really matter which way you do it. So I'm going to finish my single crochet through the rest of the row, and then I'm going to show you how to turn and keep going on the next one. All right, we've got one stitch to go. I'm going to go through the back bump here. The last stitch and the first stitch are always a little difficult, so it's fine if it's difficult for you. I'm going to single crochet, so I'm going to pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two. This is what our row looks like, and now we're going to do what we did at the beginning, which is a chain. So all you do to chain, again, is yarn over your hook, and you're just going to pull it through, like that. And now we have enough room to turn around. Lots of people do chain between their rows. Some people don't. If this was me, I wouldn't chain. I would just quite literally flip my work around and keep going. But it's really up to you. Beginners find it easier to chain. So if you're a beginner, I would recommend chaining. So I'm going to do that again. And now we can go through our next row of stitches. So this is what your stitches are going to look like. So what you're going to do is you're going to look through the top and you see we've got those arrows again. We've got those V's. So when you go through these stitches, you're going to go through both of those V's. So you're going to stick your hook right through and it's going to come underneath both of those. You're going to do the same thing we did on the first row. So you're going to yarn over. You're going to pull that through that V. You're going to have two loops on your hook now. And then you're going to yarn over again. And you're going to pull through both. First single crochet of the row. Now we're going to do that again. So we're going to insert our hook through the stitch underneath that V, the yarn over, pull through that V, and yarn over again, and pull through. Do the same again, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two. We're going to keep doing that through the end of the row. I'm going to come back and show you again how to end and start the next row. Now we're nearing the end. This is where it can get confusing for beginners. So when I count the end of my row here, I just have now one more stitch, which is this V right here. Beginners might get confused by this at the end. This was just our turning chain to give us room to turn. So if I were you when looking at this, I would look at the stitch itself. You see how these stitches have two little bars coming down right here, 1, 2, and then one going around the top. That's what I would look for when looking for your stitch. So you see this one here does have that bar at the top and it does have the two legs coming down. This one at the end doesn't. So that's not a stitch. That's just a chain from the first row. We're going to single crochet like normal. We're going to insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two. What I would recommend as a beginner is grabbing a stitch marker, in my case a bobby pin, and I would put it at the first and last stitch of every single row, just to make sure, as some added insurance, that you're not going to accidentally add any. Now I'm going to chain one, I'm going to turn, I'm going to single crochet in this first stitch right here, insert, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and now I'm going to grab my stitch marker and I'm going to insert that here just so I remember. And I'll keep going throughout the row, single crocheting until the end. Now I'm going to do my last single crochet right here. And we are done. And if I had an extra stitch marker, I would put it here, but I don't have one on me. That is how you single crochet. So like I said, I recommend adding a stitch marker to your first and last stitch of the row. I also recommend, as a beginner, counting each row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's correct. Remember, the amount of stitches you have is going to equal to the amount of chains minus 1. And hopefully these tricks will help you keep the same amount of stitches every single row. Thanks so much for watching. Check out my YouTube channel for more left-handed tutorials. And if you're interested in purchasing any left-handed crochet patterns, check out my socials or my Etsy and my Ko-Fi. Thanks, y'all.